Hey guys, Louis here from thelanguagescientist.com, and in today's video I'm going to review Rosetta Stone Spanish. So I'm going to review the Rosetta Stone program for learning Spanish. And so the question I'm going to ask is, is it actually an efficient program? Is it something that is actually better than other programs for learning Spanish? Now, actually, I have to admit that for a long time I was very skeptical of Rosetta Stone, and maybe not for a good reason. I think I just tried it multiple years ago and I wasn't very convinced with the program, and maybe because of the fact that it's so mainstream, everyone knows about Rosetta Stone, I just put it on the side and I never really thought about it again. So I actually took a lot of time to do some research and try it out on my own, and I came up with my own opinions. I've written down everything here, and so that's what we're going to talk about. Is Rosetta Stone Spanish a good program that can you become fluent in Spanish using Rosetta Stone? So the first thing I want to say here, and I'm sorry to disappoint you, I think from the start, but I usually don't make videos about software that I don't like very much, but with Rosetta Stone I'm going to make an exception because I feel like a lot of people are doing it. It's very, very popular, and I personally think that there are much better alternatives out there right now, and I'm going to justify my opinion, my fairly negative opinion of Rosetta Stone Spanish. So first of all, I feel like I should talk about sort of the core of Rosetta Stone. So I'm going to go on my computer here, and Rosetta Stone is essentially, I think there are two selling points. The first one is what they call, they're trying to make you learn Spanish using immersion learning. So basically they're never going to use English translations to teach you words in Spanish or sentences in Spanish. It's all going to be through associations, stuff like this, for example, right? Una mujer, and then they're going to show you some pictures, and you're supposed to have some sort of association going on in your mind, and supposedly you're going to remember things in a more natural and probably more efficient way. I'm going to talk about that in more detail, but that's the first selling point, the immersion learning. The second selling point, I don't feel like it's necessarily an explicit one, but Rosetta Stone is used by the US government and by multiple big companies to actually they train their employees using Rosetta Stone. And so in a way, when people see that, I feel like they think, Rosetta Stone, it's used by big companies, so it must be effective because it's so mainstream. I thought about this for a while, and I feel like this is very good marketing, but at the end of the day, the government and big companies, they're not necessarily looking for the best language learning tool on the market. What they're looking for is a language learning tool that kind of works, and it also provides an interface so that they can monitor their teams, their progress, and really enterprise features. It's not necessarily about is this the best, most advanced language learning tool on the market. All right, so now I'm going to show you sort of the core drills, because actually Rosetta Stone, at its center, it has a bunch of lessons. So it has units and lessons, but the core of the program is going to be lessons, because units are broken down into lessons. And so in lessons, you're going to find a series of drills just like this. So there are mainly two types of drills. So the first type of drill is going to be like that one. You're going to have words or sentences read out to you by a native speaker, and then you're supposed to actually say them back, the same thing. And then Rosetta Stone is going to use your microphone to actually detect, using their true accent technology, I'm going to talk about that later, to detect whether you're saying things right and with the right accent. So una niña, un niño, and then you just say that, and then it's going to validate that for you. And because there are pictures, then you're supposed to associate sort of that sound with that concept. So a girl and a boy. Second type of drill here is going to be a sentence is going to be read to you here, una mujer, and then you're going to be shown examples of una mujer and un hombre, and just by sort of associating like that word with, this is probably a woman and this is probably a man, you're supposed to select the right picture. So I click here because I think that this sentence equals to this, and here there's a woman, so by inference then I'm just going to click on this. So that's the type of stuff that you're going to get with Rosetta Stone. So this is what they call like immersion learning, and they're not going to provide you with translations in English. So it's like learning Spanish with Spanish and pictures and audio. That's kind of the selling point here. Now, I've talked about this in like another video, my research deep dive on vocabulary acquisition, but depriving yourself of like using your native language like English to learn another language, it's not necessarily a good thing. Well, it's not that it's not a good thing, but it can be useful to learn. Using English to learn another language is actually a good thing. That's what the research shows, because it helps you to make connections very quickly. And so I feel like the premise here of, well, just because we're not using English to teach you Spanish, then it's going to be more natural. It's like the way that you learn your first language is going to be better. I don't really think that it holds a lot of weight here. And I have learned multiple languages to pretty high levels, like English, Japanese, and I've always used my native language to do this, French, and I've never had a problem. I've never had an issue with that, and so I just don't really see how this quote-unquote immersion learning without using English is going to be more effective than a traditional approach. All right, next we're going to talk about this true accent technology. So I showed you actually here that some of the drills, well, actually most of the drills require you to pronounce the words and sentences, to repeat them back. And the true accent technology is the, I suppose you could say, algorithm that is supposed to give you some feedback on on your pronunciation. And at the end of the day, I tried it out, and I feel like it's not really as accurate as they make it out to be. And it's not going to tell you, okay, oh, you said this, but actually, be very careful on this syllable. That's not really how you say this, and so on. Yeah, so I feel like on the website and in their promotional material, they make a pretty big deal out of it, but at the end of the day, it's not. I was not expecting it to be perfect, but it's not that great. It's kind of like on par with Rocket Languages. I talked about this in the past, but nothing really exceptional here. And I think that the in general, I feel like it doesn't give you enough feedback so that you can actually improve your pronunciation. It's just going to tell you, well, it's not really how you say this, and then repeat it again and again. Yeah, so I don't feel like it's really all that great. All right, so now I'm going to talk about my overall sort of verdict on Rosetta Stone. I know this was pretty short, but I think you're already understanding here that I'm not a big fan of Rosetta Stone for Spanish, or for any language for that matter. My verdict here is that, as you saw, there is a need to, if you're going to go with Rosetta Stone, you need to have a grammar textbook to accompany, to complement the program, because I know it's very fashionable nowadays for online tools to really not spend a lot of time on grammar, or any time at all, but the research is pretty clear that grammar instruction is beneficial. It's not some old stuff that should be thrown away because now there are much better intuitive methods. I agree that you should not necessarily be an expert at grammar, read huge Spanish textbooks filled with grammar. It's not necessarily a good thing, but you need still some grammar to actually help you understand the language and produce it properly. Now, my second point here in my conclusion is that I've talked about this in the past, but I'm not necessarily 100% I'm not all about efficiency. If you're going to choose an online tool to learn Spanish, I don't think it needs to be like the most efficient tool on the market. Adherence or sustainability, that is to say, how likely are you to actually complete the program with the tool that you're choosing? That is more important to me than just the pure efficiency of the program. So if you really like Rosetta Stone, it's very entertaining to you, and this is something that you're likely to do on a daily basis for months, then go by all means go ahead. I don't think it's the most efficient program, but if this is something that you like, then I think it's a good option. But personally, I feel like it gets boring really quickly, and it's not very efficient at the same time. So you would need a really good reason to go with Rosetta Stone when there are so many good alternatives out there. And so that's pretty much it. Now I think I want to move on to the alternatives to Rosetta Stone, and those alternatives that I'm going to be suggesting, I'm going to show how they sort of beat Rosetta Stone in multiple aspects. So the first one is going to be Rocket Languages, and I'm going to include all the links to the 3 alternatives I'm going to give in the description of this video, so you can get like discounted prices and offers. So Rocket Languages, first of all, this is the first alternative to Rocket Spanish, so it's to Rosetta Stone Spanish. So Rocket Languages, or the Rocket Spanish program, is a pretty good one because number one, it has all of the grammar that you need that is not presented in Rosetta Stone. It's not like as dense as a textbook, but still it presents things in a very digestible way, and I feel like it's just the right amount of grammar, as opposed to no grammar with Rosetta Stone. The other thing as well is that Rocket Languages is not going to use like words or sentences to teach you the language. It's actually going to teach you the language using entire conversations. You're going to participate in the conversations. There are also drills on the website and the app where you can actually play the part of one of the characters in the conversation with Rocket Spanish. Now it can actually get boring. There's no doubt about this. Rocket Spanish can get boring, but just because of the fact that a lot of the audio lessons, you can actually do them on the go, then I feel like it's going to be a lot less boring, just because you can do the lessons on the go, just listening and participating when you're commuting, working out, and so on. So adherence, sustainability is going to be much higher. Now, I recommend, if you go with Rocket Spanish, that you actually use a flashcard system like Anki, for example, to actually put the like new words or new sentences that you learn in a program, so that you remember them in the long term. All right, now the second alternative I'm going to present here is a novel language. Now, if you're learning Spanish, there is a website called Spanish Pod 101 by the Innovative Language Company. And so I'm going to put a link in the description, but Spanish Pod 101 is actually really great. I've been learning with this company for many years, and here I think like the selling point is that they have tons of conversations. If you're trying to learn Spanish, for example, every lesson is about 15 to 25 minutes in length, and it's going to be a conversation in Spanish. And in the beginning there's going to be some English, but as you go it's going to be more and more Spanish. So you get hundreds, if not thousands, of hours of actual conversations in Spanish with they present you with the grammar that you need, and it's really, really great. So it's much less boring than Rosetta Stone, and certainly Rocket Spanish can get boring at times, but with Spanish Pod 101 it's going to be a lot better. You're also going to get an integrated flashcard system, so you don't need to worry about using Anki or some external tool. All right, now the last tool I'm going to present, I know that a lot of people are not going to like it, but this is Pimsler Spanish. And the reason why I'm choosing Pimsler here is I love Pimsler, and it's 100% audio based. Well, there are supplementary activities that you can do in the app or on the website, but I feel like the core lessons, and that's all I do, to be honest, is like in the app you just download the audio for offline listening, 30 minutes every day for 5 months. and you're going to reach a very good level. Look, like, I know that a lot of people like to hate on Pimsler because it's a bit of an unconventional program, but people are having excellent results after completing the five levels of Pimsler. Just, look at my videos on like Pimsler Spanish, and any Pimsler videos that I've made. A lot of people are commenting like, hey, I just finished that program, and after doing the 5 months or whatever, completing the program, I can actually speak Spanish. I can actually speak French. Just the other day, I had a guy who commented on my Pimsler Japanese video, and he said, many years ago, I actually did about 50 to 60% of the Pimsler Japanese program using the audio tapes or CDs. And he went to Japan, and he could actually use the language like in a taxi and everyday conversation. And now, even years after completing, well, he didn't complete the program, he only did 50 to 60% of it, he can remember what was said in the lesson. So there's really like a high retention of information with Pimsler. And the thing with Pimsler is, well, there's not going to be any explicit kind of grammar, so you're going to need to complement it with a textbook. But in my opinion, seeing the results of all the people that have used it, I think it's still a very good alternative to Rosetta Stone. And try it out if you wanna see it for yourself. Alright, so that's pretty much it for this video on Rosetta Stone Spanish. I hope that you liked this video. If you want to find out more about me, go to thelanguagescientist.com. Otherwise, I have all the links to all of the alternatives I have presented in this video in the description of the video. So I'll see you in the next video.